all these big actors like Tom Hanks, where it's the Catholics fighting the Illuminati. And I can tell you what that is. That's about making it factionalized or divide and conquer, where now people will fight about which group is it really when the New World Order controls both groups. Correct, Alan Watt?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. Even Malachi Martin, who was a Jesuit priest, said that the Vatican had been totally taken over and is now run by Freemasons. And these are the same Freemasons that run the Protestant sides as well. It's the same Freemasons that go over and get knighted by the royalty. That's one of their high ambitions, of course, if you serve the great work.
And see, let's be clear. We're not having a debate about the Catholic Church pushing world government. The last two popes have called for it. We're not debating that. We're just stating the facts of what it is today. And for some reason, groups out of Israel fund the idea that if you don't only talk about Catholics being the source of all evil, that you are in their employ. And I mean, that's just massive disinfo.
That's right. Even though in Israel itself, there is a Masonic lodge there, where some of the Muslim leaders attend, along with the Jewish leaders and leaders from the Western world. There's been articles in the paper here from a Jewish leader in Toronto with his regalia on, his Masonic regalia, going off to that particular lodge representing Canada. So you understand, they used to say that ISIS had 1,000 faces. Well, you see, this is the organization with 1,000 faces and fronts. There are 1,000 points of light.
And the Masons are only one more of those fronts.
Yes, there's Blue, there's Royal Arch, but they all take their orders from the English Lodge. That's where they get their charters from.
Just like all royalty gets its charter from there.
Yes, and the Duke of Kent traditionally is the head of the York Rite of Freemasonry that runs the whole show.
All right. Rico, do you agree with those statements?
I do. Like it's definitely, but it was just, it was crazy because it was showing you like it's a cabal of all industrialists.
But the British are good, and they're going to save us from the cabal, right?
Well, they wanted to go along with it, but supposedly James Bond did not want to go along with it. Then after that, but it's like it leaves you with like, okay, this shadow group is still out there. They're still doing what they're doing. And yeah, and the minister even goes out of his way to say we're running out of resources.
So we've got to go ahead and do what the shadow group wants. I appreciate your call. That's throwing it in your face, and we're seeing that everywhere, Alan. Explain to people what predictive programming is.
Yeah, predictive programming is a technique developed in London for the BBC by Tavistock Institute, where they experimented on, first of all, mental patients, and then they expanded it into the general population by surveys and tests, etc. And they found out that mainly through fiction, because your sensor part of the brain is down, you don't expect to have to make decisions on information. You're being entertained. Your sensor is down, and therefore all of the messages that are wrapped into generally a fight and flight scenario where the hero gets chased. There's a lot of chasing going on, and your adrenaline's up. When it's attached to emotion and sex and so on, then many messages can be downloaded into your subconscious to make you familiar with this new possibility. They call it possibility programming.
And so now when we talk about it, they're comfortable with it because, everybody knows about that. Everybody knows the CIA deals the drugs. Everybody knows they put cancer viruses in the vaccines. I mean, a lot of people don't even deny what we're saying. They just go, okay, yeah, everybody knows that. That's right, but they don't realize that they now have opinions and conclusions, and they have no idea how they arrived at those opinions. Absolutely. But let's hold on to them. Let's jam in another call here. Jeremy in Canada. A lot of calls from where you're at. Jeremy, you're on the air.
Okay. Listen, I really appreciate what you and Alan are doing, and other people like you in the alternative media, because you're the only ones I hear speaking the truth these days. I just have one question. Wouldn't the Bilderbergers and the elites who are killing us with soft kill, are they suicidal as well as homicidal? Because, on the subject of the disappearing male, wouldn't their sperm count be way down, and wouldn't their children be deformed too? No, when you read, they all avoid the plastics. They avoid the vaccines. I mean, it's like when I had the state director on about them forcibly injecting the kids in Maryland. He said, it's no law, you're right, and my kids don't take them. And then he laughed. You see, it's that pleasure. Alan? What's interesting, back in the 60s, I think it was, I was small at the time, tolling around, but there's a documentary on the Queen,
and how she had her own personal herbalist who dealt with the soap she used and everything else. So they don't use what we use. They understand the agenda, and they make sure they're healthy and their offspring are healthy too.
Yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, except...
Jeremy, hold on.
We're on the march.
The Empire's on the run. It's Alan Watt and the GCN Radio Network. Yeah, go ahead, Jeremy, finish up.
Okay, what about some of these plastic dangerous chemicals are right in the atmosphere of the whole planet, so they'd be breathing it too.
Well, they are, and the fact is they're doing it. I mean, everything Alan's telling you and that I'm telling you, they admit, sir. I mean, we can give you all the sources. They're on cuttingthroughthematrix.com. They're on Infowars.com. They're on our sites. I make films about them. Alan does presentations about them. They also understand how these things cross and mix. It's a nexus of, take the Batman movies. In the Batman movie, and one of them they say, from back 15 years ago, yeah, we staged terror attacks like the Gulf of Tonkin, or this event, or hey, we're crossing a whole bunch of different hair care and face care products, but together they poison you, and then they sell you the solution. Well, see, that's what they really do in the real world. Okay, so I mean, these people are obsessive compulsive. They're all about intricately woven systems, and they brag about it. Lord Rothschild 2 weeks ago in major papers saying, we run the world, we're setting up world government, world governance. He said, my family's most proud of how we've kept our wealth, not been decadent, controlled our family, and see, they're all about keeping their money, institutions. And the general public's like, how could something last 500 years? They don't understand. It's like universities or organizations. Alan, you want to explain that to him?
Yes, it's intergenerational. Foundations can go on for centuries with the same mandate, retiring, using, and rehiring new ones into the same agenda.
The families all breed together. Even the servant families breed together.
Yes, it's all eugenics. So the Rockefeller ran the eugenic system back in the 30s and 40s and so on. They were the ones who mandated forced sterilization of what they call the feeble-minded, and they're still into that yet. I've heard Rockefeller in a recent speech talking about the need to reduce the population, and that there's too many basically common types at the bottom. So it's never changed. Yeah.
I totally agree that they are doing eugenics, and that they want to get rid of the inferiors, which is most of us. But I was just wondering, the pollution in the atmosphere, are they really totally responsible for that? Because they're breathing that air too.
Yeah, but you understand how these people live. They live, if you take Buckingham Palace, it's rigged up to, and the same with Rockefeller's home and all these people's homes, these are rigged up to withstand and even filtrate radiation through filters, etc. They don't breathe the same stuff we do. Their limos are the same. So they have basically a system which keeps them pretty well out of the main pollution atmosphere at all times. They also have had advanced chelation. That's a big thing with them at the top, where they go in and literally, with micro techniques, they can actually carry them around in their pockets.
Yeah, we're going back to the main audience. They also do total body blood transfusions. Here we go. All right, final segment with Alan Watt. This show has just blasted past us. Then Dr. Kyle, Scott, Dave, Andy, and others. And we're going to go back to Alan Watt here in just a moment. You're only alive one time. There are just very wicked, focused control freaks that run the planet. They say it's their right to do this to us because survival of the fittest, they're in control, we're not. And I liken them to cancer. Cancer can take over a body. Cancer is, quote, dominant in the tissues of the body, but it ends up killing the host. And it's the same thing with the global elite. I don't think they're in total control. They've lost their minds. They're crazy. They say there's no such thing as a genetic mutation, so when they create chimera cross-species creations, they just say, well, man's a natural mutation, and so anything we make is a natural mutation. So all their talk about the environment's a bunch of bull. They don't even care about themselves at certain levels. Some of them do, some don't. A lot of them are very nihilistic and openly state, we have this in Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement, that they might want to just destroy the earth for fun. It's like Nero burning Rome or Caligula marrying his horse. Or throughout history, these guys go crazy. So there is some megalomania going on here. But this is just a huge institution of evil. And they select more evil people into their ranks as the older ones die. And to them, it's a great honor that Zbigniew Brzezinski brags that he supported Pol Pot and helped him kill 2 million people. He's very proud of that, and they honor him when he walks on stage anywhere. They look at him with respect. Oh, you killed 2 million. Kissinger killed tens of millions. That's why there's just such respect for him. These people, we respect the tough job you've done. Well, someone has to do it. Alan, in closing, before we take a few final calls, but in closing for your comments, I want folks to go to cutthroughthematrix.com. Get some of the audios, the CDs that are there, support you.